Now, I've talked about my career. What about your career? Because we're about halfway through and it's time to focus on what you're going to do. The first piece of advice I have for you is stop looking for a job. You'll see what I mean in just a minute. And you need a job for things like food, shelter, and Maslow's needs and everything else around that. That's important. I get it. But the reason you should stop looking for a job is that there are plenty of jobs around that can satisfy that. If that's all you're focused on, you can go find a job that's going to pay enough to do that. And don't worry about it being in your field. But more importantly, start building your career. You may not need to find that job necessarily that's going to satisfy Maslow's needs, because you should start looking for your job, not a job. You can find a job that's actually pretty easy to do. Finding your job can be more of a challenge. Now, you may have heard this quote. I have no idea to whom attribute this to. I'm just going to call the person an old timer. That when you find something you love to do, you'll never have to work a day in your life. I like to think I exemplify that. I love what I do. I work hard, but I really enjoy doing it. I enjoy my time off too, which is really, really important. So as you work on finding your job, start off by listing your priorities. This is something that I have everyone in any team that I manage directly or indirectly. This is always one of the first things I have them do. Just list the priorities you have in a job. Not the job you have, just in the job that you want to be in. So here's a couple of things. Here's 6. These are 6 at random. They aren't necessarily the same 6 you would have. After you list them, compare them by pairs. Look at one and look at the one right below it and determine which one's more important. Put that one up. Go through the entire list where you draw a line, where you rank them from top to bottom. In this case, this could be a ranked list here of the same ones. Keep in mind, this is a sample list. Your mileage may vary. That list should be what's important to you. The last thing is, when you have that list, and it should be longer, it should be more than 10 items, draw a line through the very bottom item on the list. And when, as long as you can say, yeah, I still want that job with that priority gone, then that's a priority that's not as important to you. Keep drawing lines through them, going up and asking yourself that question. And when you reach a point where you hesitate, draw a line under that priority rather than through it. And you now have a list of the important priorities that you are looking for in the next job for you in your career. I knew I was going to get the certifications questions, and I am going to get to that as well. Because certifications, actually, let me answer it right now. Certifications matter when the job that you want requires a certification. Beyond that, and I'm a founding member of ISC too. I have a very early number CISSP. And that helped me get the jobs that I wanted. If it's not a requirement for the job that you want, you have to consider the time, effort, studying, money, and renewal fees and everything else it's going to cost for you to have the certifications. So go for the ones that make sense for the jobs you're looking for, not simply to see how many letters you can get after your name. And after you have that priority list, and by the way, being able to be recognized for having certifications may be on your list. Match your job search to your priorities and use your network. Now, you hear people say this all the time. There's nothing more important in finding the right job than your network. Out of all those jobs you saw listed for me, there was one that I took that wasn't gained through a network connection. Every other job, and there's a lot of them there, I've actually had 23 so far in my career. All but one have happened because of my network. And when you want to use your network, there's a lot of things you can do. Ask them to review your resume. Don't ask, if they have any openings, or do they know of any openings? When you go through your conversation, if they're the right person for you to either have mentor you or just review things, then they're going to say, hey, I know of an opening that'd be good for you. Let them know what sort of things you're looking for. Let them know what your priorities are. And there's nothing wrong with asking them to provide introductions based on your priorities. Sometimes you can say, can you introduce me to someone that I know at this company? They don't have any posted openings, but I'd like to talk to someone there and maybe I can convince them to have one. thank them for what they're doing for you, and then go do your homework. Whenever they say, well, if you give me this, or what do what more do you need from that? Do your homework and be prompt in getting it back to them. It's an investment that will pay off high dividends. And I recommend as you move through your career, you do the same thing for people looking for what they're going to do next. Now, resumes came up. Speaking of resumes, certifications certainly should go on your resume for those that you have. And it's good to be proud of your certifications, but again, make sure they're going to focus on the job that you want to do, not simply because everyone else has it, or it's a nice sounding letter, or you think it's great to have that there. Now, your resume is the front door for your job search. After your job search starts, once you get your first interview, in that interview, your resume no longer means anything. Everything you do from that interview going forward depends on how you present yourself and how you listen to the interviewer and how you respond to the interviewer. Let your resume read like an award ceremony description, as if someone were giving you an award, because you should include all of your accomplishments and all your results. If you go to any award, Grammys, Emmys, Oscars, any award ceremony, when someone introduces them, they may say, here's a personal anecdote I have about them. Then they'll say, here's all the things they accomplished, which is why they deserve that award. That's what your resume should be. It should be your award presentation list. And by all means, don't include, I'm responsible for this, or I supported users. Anything on your resume that can't say, here are the results and here's what you accomplished, leave it off. Make your resume succinct, and it makes no difference what you're responsible for, because it may or may not have any bearing on what you did. Like, you may have been responsible for saving $10 trillion out of the federal budget. But if you didn't accomplish that, then having that responsibility is meaningless on your resume. What you do need is, here's how much I saved by my actions.